At Sam's, some very similar things, early hours for at-risk shoppers. They also have a concierge service for seniors and at-risk shoppers that allows an associate to come to their car, take their shopping list, get the items, and have them pay through their scan and go system. On Sundays from 7 to 9 a.m., Sam's is limiting that shopping to healthcare workers and first responders only. And also, Sam's is limiting the number of people who enter the store at the same time and waiting and spacing out the number of people who come in at the same time. Also providing sanitization for people to clean their cart, deep cleaning at night, spit guards for the cashiers, and masks and gloves available to employees. So that's a little bit of what's happening at the big box stores. As far as cases, confirmed cases of COVID-19, as of today, 273 in Tulsa County with 14 deaths and 1,472 cases statewide and 67 deaths. We're about in the middle of the states. There's about 25 states above us and below us. For what that's worth, a majority, probably 2/3 of our cases in Oklahoma or in the Oklahoma City area, about 500 cases in the Oklahoma City area and about 500 in the Tulsa area. That's very rough, but when you include the surrounding counties in both the Oklahoma City and Tulsa area, it's about 500 cases, and then an additional 500 or so cases in the rest of the state. As the mayor mentioned, Mayor Bynum and Dr. Dart are now strongly encouraging but not mandating masks, and Governor Stitt in his press conference today, I don't believe said anything major, but remains cautiously optimistic about our hospitalization rates. Still pretty sobering, the death rate in Oklahoma with additional testing and additional confirmed cases with quite an increase in deaths just yesterday. The death rate in Oklahoma is 4.55%. as opposed to 3.17% in the U.S. and about 5.75% internationally. Those rates will probably change. I'm not sure that we are in any way destined to have a higher death rate or mortality rate than the other states and the rest of the nation. But right now, they are rather high. The Oklahoma Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation is still projecting the peak of medical resources used to be on or about April 22nd, and the peak of death to occur about April 24th. So we're only a couple of weeks out. They're projecting at that time 29 deaths per day in Oklahoma. So still some very sobering numbers. They're also, for what it's worth, it's just a projection, but what it's worth, they're showing a total number of deaths in Oklahoma as of August 4th of this year to be just over 800. So while the news, while there might be considered by some to see some signs for optimism, we're still in a very, very serious situation, and the numbers that are being projected are very sobering. The good news is right now that April 22nd date for the peak of our medical resources does not show us to be totally exhausting our hospital beds or our ICU beds or our other resources. Those numbers are well within Oklahoma Healthcare's ability to somewhat be able to handle the COVID-19 cases that are projected. And with that, I'll stop and be happy to try to answer any questions. I think everyone listening, certainly the council, you have access to the same information that I'm reading from, but I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Warren. So it's definitely, I heard the governor speak today as well, and the capacity of the beds, ventilators, the fact that we have the capacity is certainly good news, and to me at least suggests that the efforts we've taken board seem to be making a difference, at least at this stage. I know the recommendation is we can't slow down at this point based on health department's discussions today, but we need to kind of stay the course for at least another couple of weeks to continue to flatten the curve and get through that difficult time period you're talking about. But seems like what we're doing, as painful as it is working. Any comments from the council?
I guess with the dates that April 22nd date out there, I guess a question, should we go ahead and take any moves to go ahead and extend our date that we have our conditions set up for? Right now it's the 14th, I guess next Tuesday is the date that we set.
Yeah, I was going to make a suggestion. The governor extended his out to the 30th. I kind of assumed we would take that up today and take action on it. Or again, it goes through till next 14th. We have a scheduled meeting then. We'll still be under the same order until then. So we can take action today to extend it, or wait and see what else evolves for the next week, and if any additional action needs to be taken, then move on it on the 14th. And of course, we always have the ability to call an emergency meeting if looks like we need to make any drastic changes. So I think either way, we could take action on that today or do it next week.
Does Folsom's all their provisions, does it extend to the 30th day, or what is their date?
Warren, do you have that information in front of you?
I don't recall. I bet I've got it within this information that I've got. I'll be looking for that here for a moment, and if I can find it, I'll let you know.
Okay.
I think if we're going to go ahead and extend it, we ought to do it to a date where we're going to meet again, so that the 30th doesn't fall on a council meeting date, that we either do it short of that or after that, so that it'll be the next time that we do have to actually make a decision on it will be on the day of action.
That's a good point. Probably the safest thing to do if you go to the first meeting in May is if we did it, the last meeting in April would be the 21st, which is going to be a little bit early.
Or it would be the 5th.
I'm inclined.
May.
Yeah, that would just save us having what we call a special meeting if we don't meet on the 30th.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's the appropriate day. Anybody else want to weigh in on that? Kelly?
What did you say?
Anybody, do you want to weigh in on that?
I would be good with the 30th, extending it to the 30th. But I don't know that it's almost neither here nor there whether we do it now or wait until next week.
Well, what we were talking about was doing it, extend it past the 30th, like the first Tuesday in May, so we don't have to have a special meeting on the 30th to extend it if we need to extend it, or do it on the 21st, which I think was the last meeting we had this month. So I think there's a consensus to go ahead and have it extend to the 5th of May.
Well, I mean, we could extend it through the 30th and then consider the issue again on the 21st.
Yeah.
I think with the, just me personally here, I think based on the way things are going by the 21st, we would have to reconsider something at that point. Because I think I just don't see a scenario where we're not going to extend it, but that would work. If we just push it to the 21st and we're just making a decision at that meeting, whether or not we want to go then again to the 5th.
So you're saying next week is extended 1 week?
Yeah.
I kind of like that idea, and and really the only reason is because there will be some sort of, picture there about if we flatten the curve or not, or if we've reached the peak of, what's going on. And, I would expect that probably the, governor or any other municipalities, Tulsa, whatever, will have reacted by then as well. So it seems appropriate that if we wanted to just extend it a week, I just, in my mind, I felt like we needed to extend it just to show that we see the pattern, the way things are going, and the 14th isn't going to cut it, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Or would you be able to go ahead and extend it to the end of the month, just extend it in the month, and then we decide on the 21st? It doesn't matter. I think,
I mean, that's what I'm suggesting.
go ahead and do it at the end of the month,
Just
and then.
extend it to the 30th, and then I'm sure it's gonna appear on our agenda on the 21st anyway.
It will.
Put it then.
Yeah, that would be,
I agree with that.
yeah.
For what it's worth, it looks like Tulsa's original executive order was the 16th, but they've extended it to the 30th in a subsequent order.
Yeah, so I'd be good with that, and then if we have to, we can meet like this again. I mean, as long as we're set up to be able to meet like this, I mean, obviously, we can call a special meeting quick if we have to, but, yeah, I think that'd be fine. We'll go ahead and make it something. Okay, so if, we're all in agreement on that, which sounds like we are, we just need a motion. So
I move we extend the date to, April 30th on our.
Could we frame that motion, please, as extending the date of all three of the previous resolutions, starting back with the emergency and then non-essential businesses, and all three of those, if we get in the shelter in place, if we could do all three of those, the motion would be to extend each of them until April 30th.
Do you need me to point out the resolutions by number, or just say the previous three? Can I just say it like that?
You can just say it like that.
Okay. I move we extend the date of the previous three resolutions we passed on the COVID pandemic to April 30th.
I second.
Mr. Bunbury?
Yes.
Mr. Bush?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes. Okay, item 10 is consideration of appropriate action relating to the acquisition of right-of-way and easement for the East 116th Street North roadway improvement project from Garnett Road North 129th East Avenue. And Roger Stevens has this item.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council. The item I bring before you this evening is a request to authorize payment for 19,012.10 square feet of right-of-way and 3,000 square feet of permanent easement from the Fireside Bible Baptist Church for the East 116th Street North roadway improvements from Garnett Road to North 129th East Avenue. The offer for the right-of-way is $4 per square foot for the purchase price of $76,048.84. In addition to the land purchase, obtaining permanent easement and compensation for damages in the amount of $33,951.16 has been negotiated for a total cost of $110,000. Funding for this land is included in the Vision Recapture Fund. So with this information in mind, staff recommends authorization for payment to Fireside Bible Baptist Church in the amount of $110,000 for the acquisition of right-of-way, permanent easement, and compensation for damages at 11516 North 123rd East Avenue. At this time, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Roger. Questions or comments from the council?
Roger, are they likely to lose some of those trees that are there nearby the road?
Yes, sir. They'll lose about 10 trees. That's part of the damages they're being compensated for.
Yeah. But that seems like a kind of a mid-range price for the square foot.
Within that area, it's pretty comparable to what we have paid other property owners.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Move we
I'll
approve.
move we approve. Second.
Mr. Bunbury,
Yes.
Mr. Bush,
Yes.
Mr. Dunn,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Kelly.
Yes. On to item number 11, report from our city manager.
Thank you, Mayor, and I'd like to first call on our Public Works Director, Roger Stevens, for a project status report.
Thank you, sir. Beginning with the first project, which is East 76th Street widening from US 169 to North 129th East Avenue. Over the past 30 days, the contractor is focused on relocating the water lines along this corridor. All the water line crossings underneath East 76th Street are now complete. So the contractor is now focusing on installing the 12-inch water line that parallels 76th Street, just on the south side of 76th Street. Also, you may have noticed there's a temporary lane that has been installed on the north side of 76th Street. The reason for that is they will actually switch traffic over and give them more room on the south side in order for them to install the infrastructure, underground infrastructure, as well as, once they get that accomplished, then they'll start adding the 2 additional lanes on the south side, the eastbound lanes. So as of now, the contractor is on schedule and anticipate having the work complete by April of 2021. Next is the Garnett Road improvements from 96th Street to 106th. Same with the last project. The contractor is relocating the water lines along this corridor. Also, they have installed a temporary lane on the east side of Garnett Road. Again, that's the same purpose. They'll be switching the traffic over to one of the existing lanes and the new temporary lane, so they can get all the stormwater work performed on the west side of Garnett. Once they get that accomplished, then they'll start building the 2 southbound lanes. This project is currently on schedule for completion of May of 2021. Next is the Garnett Road improvements from 106th to 116th. Unfortunately, we did have a court case for this last piece of property that was scheduled for March 31st. With the pandemic, that has been canceled. We don't anticipate probably going back before the federal court until probably late May, maybe even into June. We're not just sure yet until we get beyond the flattening the curve of this pandemic. Next is 106th Street North and North 145th East Avenue intersection improvements. One utility left on this project to get relocated, and that's Cox. They anticipate having their utilities out of our way by the end of this month. And then as a result, we'll be able to get this project out to bid in May, but no later than June of this year. 116th, 129th intersection improvements. Just yesterday, this project was actually, ODOT approved a roadway construction contract with Crossland Heavy Construction, which is the same contractor that is performing the work just to the east there, the other section there, that half a mile section between 129th to US 169. Bids were good, and really pretty close to the engineering estimate. ODOT doesn't anticipate asking for any additional money based on the bids that were received and based on the bid that was awarded. We do anticipate construction starting in June of this year, with completion around January of 2021. Central Park channel improvements, nothing new to report. Rail Park Trib 5A stormwater improvements in reference to Trib 5A. The contractor is near completion. All the grading is complete, just some dress-up work, laying sod, as well as installing some electrical boxes. They're still working on that, and we anticipate the project being complete by the end of this month. The regional detention, as well as the mitigation project, the contractor does continue with the dirt removal, as well as grading on the mitigation. A lot of progress just over the past 30 days, even with the wet conditions. They still move a lot of dirt on this project. So they're doing very well, and they're on schedule at this point. Next is Mingo and East 116th intersection improvements, as well as improvements on 116th from Mingo to Garnett Road. Right-of-way and easement acquisition continues, and we anticipate having all the necessary right-of-way and easement by May of this year. We'll follow that up with the private utility relocation phase. Next is the Garnett, or improvements on 116th and Garnett intersection, as well as improvements on 116th from Garnett to North 129th East Avenue. The roadway itself on 116th between 129th and Garnett, we anticipate having all the necessary right-of-way by the end of this month. And the intersection, we're still optimistic that we can have all the right-of-way and easement by May of this year, and then followed by utility relocation. Again, that's going to be somewhat, there's a little unknown there because we do have 2 properties in condemnation, and as of now, the mediation is on hold until we get beyond these challenging times. Next, the 116th improvements from 129th to 135th East Avenue. Construction is scheduled to commence on May 4th of this year, with completion by February of 2021. 96 improvements from 119th to North 129th. Land acquisition commenced back in February of this year. We anticipate having the necessary right-of-way by February of 2021. Wastewater treatment plant improvements, nothing new to update. We're still waiting on an approval from ODQ to move forward with the construction phase. Coffee Creek Lift Station and Forcemain improvements. We have received our permit from from ODQ, and we do anticipate having this project out to bid within the next 45 to 60 days. 106th and North 129th East Avenue, that's the Newbury Court. The FY 2019 Street Rehabilitation Project. This Thursday, the asphalt overlay crew will begin work in Lake Ridge. Anticipate having that work complete by April 20th within that subdivision. As well as the crews are on East 76th Street North, as you probably have seen. They're working on the base work as well as the curb and gutter. They anticipate having all this prep work finished by mid-May, and soon after they'll have the asphalt overlay crew in to finish up that phase. Last project, East 96th Street improvements, drainage improvements. The contractor has completed the crossing on 96th Street and has been reopened to the public. The work does continue on the north side of 96th Street, installing drainage pipe as well as an overflow channel. And we anticipate having this project complete by the end of this month. Now, at this time, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you, Roger. If there are no questions, I'll just mention one other item. Mayor Kelly received a call earlier this week from a Mr. Joe Deere. Mr. Deere is the Cherokee Nation Tribal Counselor for our district, and Mr. Deere was interested in the Cherokee Nation doing some food distribution for families and individuals in need. The mayor put him in contact with me and a couple of other people. I know that Mr. Deere is working with Randy Cowling and Owasso Community Resources to some extent, and possibly a couple of other ministries in town. But he is planning on Friday, April 17th, a free distribution day. It will be held at the YMCA parking lot Friday, April 17th, and they will be distributing food from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. for individuals and families who have need. Mr. Deere is working closely with our police department, and I'm sure ultimately our Public Works Department to ensure a smooth flow of traffic on that day. But Friday, April 17th, thank you to the YMCA and thank you to the Cherokee Nation for reaching out to our families in need on this upcoming next Friday, April 17th. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Warren. On to item number 12, it's a report from our city attorney.
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Item 13 is report from city council.
I just want to say thanks to all of those that have been involved in this process of trying to connect us up with doing these meetings with the technology. I can tell you from a logistical standpoint, that's pretty challenging to do. I know it didn't work out on the YouTube tonight like we wanted, but generally speaking, everything that's been done up to this point has been great, and I really appreciate all the work. I'm sure Teresa Wilson's group and others have been involved in this, and I'm just grateful to you all for making it happen so that we can still conduct our meetings.
Agreed. I want to echo Warren's comments on Joe Deere. I was really impressed with, he reached out to me multiple times, and they really are making a huge effort to make a difference, all initiated by them, and it's good to see that they're following through with that. I think it's coming at a time we have a lot of families that have a lot of need, and just want to echo those comments. I really appreciate what they're doing for us right now. Anyone else? Okay, item 14 is official notices to the council. We are in receipt of these documents. Item 15 is new business. If there is none, I need a motion to adjourn.
Move we adjourn.
Move.
Second. Mr. Bungray?
Yes.
Mr. Bush?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes. We'll now call to order this meeting of the Owasso Public Works Authority. Item number 2 is roll call.
Chair Chris Kelly?
Here.
Vice Chair Bill Bush?
Here.
Trustee Doug Bungray?
Here.
Trustee Lyndall Dunn?
Here.
Trustee Kelly Lewis?
Here.
Item 3 is consideration and appropriate action relating to the request for approval of the consent agenda.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Mr. Bungray?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
Mr. Bush?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes. Item 5 is consideration and appropriate action relating to the acquisition of easement for the Cotton Creek Lift Station and Forcemain Improvement Project. And Roger Stevens is up again.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and trustees. The final item I bring before this evening is a request to authorize payment for 26,353.80 square feet of permanent easement from Charlene and Elshel for the Cotton Creek Lift Station and Forcemain improvements. The offer for the permanent easement is $1.50 per square foot for a purchase price of $39,530.70. Funding for the easement purchase is included in the Owasso Public Works Authority Fund. So with this information in mind, staff recommends authorization for payment to Charlotte and Elshel Revocable Trust in the amount of $39,530.70 for the acquisition of permanent easement located at 9732 North 145th East Avenue. At this time, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Roger. Questions or comments from the council?
Roger, this particular section here, now, is this where we're running a line to the lift station?
So this is actually the Forcemain where we would be discharging the sanitary sewer from the pump station all the way to, which is located just south of 106 to East 86th Street North, 2-mile section.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I'll move we approve.
Second.
Mr. Bumbrick,
Yes.
Mr. Bush,
Yes.
Mr. Dunn,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Kelly.
Yes. Item 6 is report from the OPWA manager.
No report, Mr. Chairman.
Item 7 is report from the OPWA attorney.
No report, Mr. Chairman.
Item 8 is official notices to the authority. We are in receipt of these documents. Item 9 is new business. There is none. I need a motion to adjourn.
Move
So
to
moved.
adjourn.
Second.
Mr. Bumbrick,
Yes.
Mr. Dunn,
Yes.
Mr. Bush,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Kelly.
Yes. Now call to order this meeting of the Owasso Public Golf Authority. Item number 2 is roll call.
Chair Chris Kelly,
Here.
Vice Chair Bill Bush,
Here.
Trustee Doug Bumbrick,
Here.
Trustee Lyndall Dunn,
Here.
Trustee Kelly Lewis.
Here.
Item 3 is consideration and appropriate action relating to a request for approval of the consent agenda.
Move we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Bumbrick,
Yes.
Mr. Dunn,
Yes.
Mr. Bush,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Kelly.
Yes. Item 5 is report from the OPGA manager.
No report, Mr. Chairman.
Item 6 is report from the OPGA attorney.
No report, Mr. Chairman.
Item 7 is official notices to the authority. We are in receipt of these documents. Item 8 is new business. There is none. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Bumbrick,
Yes.
Mr. Dunn,
Yes.
Mr. Bush,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Kelly.
Yes, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for attending. I know this is a little different format, but I agree with Doug. I think it worked out really well. Thank you to everybody behind the scenes making it work, and we'll do this again next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, thank you all.